And if you have not realized by now, it's the 5th of the second month. That means you are dying. What do you mean by that? That means you are dying. What do you mean by that? That means January swept by and you were unconscious. You didn't make money. You didn't craft love. You didn't go out and see the mountains, oceans, rivers, and kayaks. And most importantly, you didn't even spend time alone, because when you guys spend time alone, it's always texting someone, but it's alone. But that's not true alone time. True alone time is when you go hiking early in the morning with no electronics and you pick a spot where you're fully exhausted, where all of the bundles of nerves must relax into after full exhaustion, and you enter inward and you turn into the forest and you start to understand that everyone in this world is against you. They are against themselves because they are you. Man does not know where he's going. Man is a machine. Man looks at the window as he's, nigga, I'm a window shopper. Looking into the window, into the Gucci store, and then you see your watch. But it is on your hand, and 8 hours just flew by. You think being lonely is cool. Let me tell you something, man. When you're lonely, you are not spiritual. When you are alone and full, that's when you are spiritual. And guess what? When you're around her, she should be like a feedback loop telling you about yourself. And when she looks at you, she should be knowing herself through you, not the inverted mirror, not the other way. I want to get to know her. Really, you little faggot? Is that that's how you're gonna walk through this world? What if I told you 99.9% of niggas on earth are as stupid and ugly as you? Have you ever stopped to consider what is that in Walmart? Like, what, those are human beings. No, they're you. If I walk past you on the street, I wouldn't notice you. You are not within ego consciousness. You did not make the cut. Don't you understand that it's money is karmic substance? That's why Justin Bieber paid 12 million for an NFT that is worth 33 cents today. He lost 12 fucking $1 million on a fucking nigger coin. And I told you fucking NFT faggots what the fuck is gonna happen when you run to the new thing like the faggot you are. All of your buddies who trade are still broke, and the one that does have money has an ugly girlfriend. And you're copying him. You're headed that way. There's some YouTuber. He teaches me how to trade on YouTube, and his dad started him off. He didn't even make it himself. Some of you are obsessed with trading and stocks, but here's the truth. You're not even a part of the club. You're not a part of the game. You're just pretending you're doing something. I'm up and I'm down and I'm up again. I'm up and I'm down. You're embarrassing yourself. You're a fucking idiot. And if you do get lucky, let's say you make 8 bands. I made $8,000 trading crypto. Oh my God. Let's say you did do that 6 years later. Let's say you accomplish that, which if you look at the percentage of how many people even do that's like $8,000 is nothing. What the fuck? But you look at someone who does accomplish something like that, it's like, just look at the time lapse of his life. Nothing changed. Literally nothing changed. So when you guys have these big googly eyes that I'm gonna figure out the system, when you guys have these big googly eyes, you should know that it was cute 8 years ago, but it's cringe right now, bro. You've been saying the same thing over and over again that you're gonna get rich this year, you're gonna do it, and then you're just watching niggas like me shit on you in every metric, and you're just sitting there in your little fucking DX racer faggot ass chair. And you're sitting there and you're like, well, when I pop off, I'll live like Zherka. But we've seen niggas pop off and they still couldn't live like me. The women still didn't sit on their lap. They got no skill sets for the world to be fun. And yes, to have fun in the world, why did you think that you were just given fun? Fun is a skill set you develop. For example, if you don't know how to talk to a woman, you're not having as much fun as the next guy. That's like period point. If you don't know how to play tennis, you're not having as much fun as the tennis player. I'll tell you that much. If you don't know how to bench press, you're not getting excited that you're putting another plate on that bitch because you're not progressing. Life requires a skill set. Do you know that? Like to walk in the world, it requires, you can't just be born in the world and have fun. That never happens. Fun is a skill set. If you, I want to be a good public speaker. That's fun. People love listening to me talk. I'm having fun with it. Why are you having fun? Because it's a skill set. Okay, you suck at basketball. I'm having fun sucking. No one says that. It's a skill set. So the word life doesn't just mean rhythm, it means skills. And there's fun in developing skills. Like, have you ever seen a black guy crossing the road? It actually looks like he's really employed, like he's late for work. Like, why is he taking such long strides and why is he crossing the road so aggressively? And it's almost like there's a treasure on the other side of the sidewalk. Or is he just doing that to startle everyone? Or is it like an alpha dominance thing? Or is he he just can't control his metabolic limb system is just overpowering everything. And I'm talking about like, have you black people shouldn't be able to walk around aggressively, you know. They need to adjust their walk to a slower tempo, and we got to speed white people up because they're going a little too slow. Everyone got to meet in the middle a bit. But startling someone, have you ever seen a black guy come out of an alleyway and you're just thinking to yourself, like, what the fuck is in there? Like, every time he's like, what is in that alleyway? What the, because this guy doesn't look like he does crack. He's just some random black guy. But what could possibly be every, I don't see Chinese people ever walking out of an alleyway. Even behind their own, maybe behind their restaurants, they'll light up a cigarette. I could see one of those fucking chink soup working employees doing, you know, going for their smoke break. And Chinese people are just so sad, man. Like, they're look closely into their um look closely into their slits, man, and try and see their eyes. Chinese people are so away from the good. Like, they don't do any crime. They don't harm anyone, and somehow they're still not good guys. Have you ever noticed that? Like, how do you do no evil and you're still not a good guy? Right? Are you like in a, they're like the most neutral force in nature. It's like anytime you talk to a Chinese person, they're almost telling you, hey, I hope you forget about me. Because you're gonna forget about them. Like, they're so violently boring as people. Like, talk to an Asian person, they're so fucking boring to talk to. and they don't have like a group identity with China, and they don't have a group identity with the US, and they don't have anything. All they have is this safety identity that they're just safety maxing all the time. You've been to a Chinese person's house, like even the walls are softer, like everything is pussy ass soft bullshit. It's so quiet, and all you hear is their noodles are done, and they're not even they're done from like the little electronic pictures they have. Like they buy shit like that, and you're thinking to yourself like, how can anyone live this quiet? I love a quiet life, but I always counterbalance it with nigger radio music when I'm driving in my fucking twin turbo Corvette. I'm the fastest on the road. I'm the deadliest on the road. Nothing can touch me. I'm a fucking maniac. And then I go into my meditation and I have both sides of my energy. And that way, when I speak on a podcast, you get the slow and the aggressive, which means infinite clickbait. There's a cadence to being interesting that humans have forgotten about. My dad almost slapped the shit out of me in front of everyone at Cactus Club at the restaurant because I said, "Okay, Dad, I have to stop talking." And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, just the way you talk is not interesting. You're just talking like a human, and I'm talking like a podcaster. I feel like I don't want to engage in this conversation anymore. And he looked at me like he was gonna bitch smack me, like what I have to be an entertainer in front of you. I'm like, but when you're in the mood to entertain me, you do entertain me. You know what I mean? When you're in the mood, you do entertain me. So why did you stop? Why do humans think they just talk normally to each other? No, you should be interesting when you speak to someone. And now I have to take questions from you guys, and it's gonna be the gayest voices ever. Like, listen to this shit, man. Let's bring some people up. Let's hear what the community has to say.
I think what you're saying, it kind of relates to what Nick said, where like nobody has no gravitas. They have no character when they speak. Consumers now speak soullessly, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
And um, my question I wanted to ask you too is, remember when you said that Carl Jung and Freud were gay? Do you change your opinion on that, or?
yeah. Listen, you gotta understand. A lot of the content I do is trolling, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
when I'm talking about certain things, you should understand that I call everyone gay if I
Yes.
if I need to generate interest in that person. So I remember I said on a podcast, I said he did a gay ritual, and the guys who followed Carl Jung after that, they were super interested in it, the gay ritual.
Yeah.
They became Jungian psychologists. One of my buddies actually studies Jung, and he's in college and all that. And he found me online, and he's like, "Why would you? Why would you? Why would you do that? Like, why would you trick me like that? Why are you such a trickster, Zherka? Why is everything you do? There's a deeper thing to it. Is everything a trick with you?" And I'm like, be honest. The week before that you watched me and I spoke about Jung, you never even Googled him. And he was 18 back then. And he's
Yeah.
like, holy fuck, sometimes you actually trick me into studying something I didn't want to study. And I'm like, yes. Now you understand. It's almost like I call people unconscious losers. So it echoes in their head a bit. So they enter into more consciousness throughout the day, and they see it's like a candle flame. Consciousness is your soul is a flame. And people go, wait a minute, he's actually helping. And when I tell you guys that you don't get women, that's not to waken you guys up or anything. That's to remind you that you work hard. You make all that money and your life sucks.
Yeah.
That is the system not fucking evil? I think the only intelligent people on earth is when they're 18, they dress like they're 18. When they're 25, they dress like they're 25. When they're 35 plus, they're only in dress wear like suits and ties, right? And even 30 should really be like that, unless you have a sweating problem. Yeah, I understand. If you always like sweat a lot, you can't always be dressed up. But like being your age is the funnest part of the universe. Like it's February 5th, 2026. So are you up to date with the music? You don't have to like the music, but you have to be somewhat up to date with the pop culture, with the everything that I don't follow. I force my students to follow. Why? Just so they can be up with the spirit of the times. Because have you ever noticed that everything you like is 5 to 6 years ago? Yeah, there's a lot of guys who follow me and they love everything about me and they talk to me in the DMs as if it's 2023 right now. And I'm like, whoa, wow. People live in shadow versions of themselves. Like some of you guys are still walking around like your 2024 self. If you're deeply unconscious, some people are still stuck in COVID era. If you're fat, tired, ugly, all that shit, you're probably stuck in that COVID swamp that made the whole world ugly. It's like a mental health crisis started with that shit, right? Well, it's not like it was. But you have to realize that when your eyes open in the morning, that is you getting ready to refresh the page, stay up with the news, be in the world but not of it. That is important. That's why people are like all my students say, why did you force me to make a Twitter? And when you forced me to make a Twitter, you didn't post for like a month. What the fuck? I'm like, I didn't force you to make a Twitter to follow my shit. I'm telling you, I'm forcing you to make a Twitter because Instagram will rape your life. You have to be a part of the world. You'll see trends that are not for you until that one comes up that is more up your alley, and you'll make a shit ton of money off that. Like you will see the matrix and where you're supposed to go. You will see the trends. You will see the ones that fit you, the ones that don't. It's like surfing the world, and that's the only way to move. That's the only way to make money in the world. Every other way is exhausting. This is the only way you have limitless energy because it's always a new feed. And by the way, you're spoiled with all the Epstein leaks. You know how boring Twitter's going to get in about a week, right? Oh, it's going to get more interesting for the Epstein stuff, but everything else is, it can't even touch, it can't hold the candle. When you're looking at the incarnation of Jesus Christ, what you are seeing is the highest level of initiate, not just God. So basically, if you're seeing someone run the Matrix in a perfect speed run, if you're watching that, it's no wonder you can never speak like Jesus. And that's not the point. You're not supposed to transform it. Have you seen those people who suppress all of their language? They want to say the word fuck, but they suppress it to be a Christian and they build nasty shadows. Dude, I'm telling you, if you understand, we're not going to go into it. I don't need everyone getting confused. But if you understand what I speak about, it takes many, 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 many cycles for you to run your incarnation like Jesus. And at the top of your game, you won't hold a candle still. Not that you'll fuck up. Many initiates get to that point of where they're damn near almost at perfect levels of consciousness, right? Almost there. But I'm telling you right now, it's like the idea that you think you have to first of all, you should see this. If you try and suppress any of your energy, you're already fucking up. If you try and run a Zherka incarnation without saying fuck you, fuck this, and fuck that, you've already raped and destroyed Zherka's whole potential. If you have an incarnation that's really poetic and you suppress the poetry because you want to be more masculine, then that's going to harm you even more. And guess what? You're evolving. You're going to keep evolving until all that language turns into sweet, wise words. But don't skip to the final stage, because that's how you build a shadow and fall the fuck off forever. Take it one step at a time. What do you think at 41, 51 years old, Zherka's going to swear as much? No, we're seeing a different trajectory where I'm transforming into a every fucking month of my life. I am sweeter to the world, but I will never be sweet today. Do you know why? Because that's fake. You can only do what you can manage to do and never more. And I'll tell you this, man, there's nothing you've ever accomplished in your life that wasn't downloaded percent by percent. And sometimes it would stop loading little by little, crumb by crumb. You've never actually seen mastery over anything without someone being obsessed with the details at first. Little by little by little, you become a lot. But check this out. As soon as you realize you're a lot, you stop growing. And now you're little again because everyone else is becoming a lot. Do you understand that if you want to be a big creator on YouTube one day or whatever your dreams and aspirations are, even if it's as gay as that one video at a time, and cut that video into 3 minutes and keep cutting it smaller little by little. And the refinement process is the momentum. The refinement process where you don't get views for many years, that's fine. As long as you like your product, it's becoming better and better to you, then all it takes is one. And now, all that refinement process is actually, you see it in the external, and it's externalized as views. Like a lot of videos you guys love of certain YouTubers took, for example, let's say there's a Mr. Beast video that took him 8 months to finish, and it got 80 million views. You see how he got paid for every second of that month? Every single one of those months. The more effort he put into that video, it shows on the external every single time. The only problem is you don't know when it will show. For some people, in 3 years, I always give the strongest example of my my black friend Dean. So cool. He said when I first got on Twitch, I was hanging out with him, and everyone's like, "Why are you hanging out with him? He's been at 0 viewers for 7 years, and you should hang out with the popular kids." And I'm like, "No, Dean's my boy. What the fuck?" And I met him on the Raj Patel show, and I kept laughing at his jokes because he sounded like me, and I said, "Dean has potential. He's gonna pop off." And the whole internet made fun of me for so long, months and months and months, because they said he's been streaming to one person for 7 years. He's an army guy. And yeah, 6 months later, he popped the fuck off. Got sponsored and everything. I think, was it with G Fuel or G2? I don't know. And everyone was shocked. Everyone started being friends with him and sucking him off. And we were on a podcast together, and he's like, "Zherka always knew." I'm like, "I did." And a lot of people were like, "Oh, you said that because he's your buddy." But my chatters caught on. They're like, "But Zherka had many Twitch friends. He didn't say that about any of them, even the bigger ones, even the smaller, none. He just said it about Dean." So I didn't say it to make him feel cool. I hate when friends do that. Like, "Hey, you can make it, bro." I hate positive reinforcement just for the sake of being positive. I think it's the lowest levels of consciousness. Like I've had buddies say, "Man, I don't think I'm gonna make it because of this, this, this," and I just stay quiet and look at them because I don't feel like they're gonna make it. I'm not gonna lie to them. And it looks cruel until they start popping off later and realizing, "Oh shit," like Zerka's signaling to me that my content is trash, right? But why I told Dean to his face that I'm confident he's next after me is because he was doing so good with the funny jokes he's making on all the casts that I wanted to keep him sustaining that energy. Because a lot of jokesters on podcasts, they try 5 different comedy styles, and because one of the styles is funny, but they don't know which style it is, they keep switching to the other 4, and so they keep losing the audience, gaining the audience, losing. It's like horrible, yeah, especially for a live show. But if you tell someone, "Hey, this is actually where you're the funniest on this. This is the comedic style you should stick to," and spam that button, uh, people do that. You know, a lot of people don't understand, even if you tell them to their face. But if you tell them that, hey, this guy's next up, they lock in and say, okay, I'm just going to keep doing this. And that I love telling that story because I can't imagine anyone here knows someone who's been streaming for 7 years. Which, by the way, 7 years, you fucking sucked. Like, holy shit, did you suck? But yeah, that the whole point of the story is that like the time limit of when you pop off is what tortures you. It's not the fact that it'll happen or not. Like, for example, if I say to everyone on this call, you can all see yourself making it, everyone would say yes. Like, everyone here would could be convinced, yeah, I could see a reality where that happens, right? Everyone has the power to see it, so it's real, right? Remember, just because many things are real doesn't mean they are true. For example, a murderer is real, but he's not true, right? This is not God's will. This is delaying God's will because eventually he will come back to the light. Because remember, it's like a band. You can't break God's will, but you can certainly delay it. That is what free will is, right? But it's not like you're being cast off like a snake skin forever without being invited back onto the body of the snake. Which I hate when people say that your snake imagery is evil, and be wise as serpents, my fools, not my followers, my fools. You guys really don't understand scripture. To be wise as a serpent is to understand how to manipulate someone and choose not to do it, not to not know how. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
like
just want
Christ said, also, my voice is echoing. Christ said, I'll be raised as a serpent in the desert.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. See, you guys are locked in. And is there anything more beautiful than someone interrupting me to tell me what the Christ said? That's awesome because no one here had a problem with you interrupting. Have you noticed that? Humans cannot have a problem with someone interrupting if there's many versions of real, but there's only one version of true, and that's the Christ. And what you said comforted everyone because they all think I'm evil, and you were like, "Hey, Zerko's not evil because of this," and you drop scripture on them. But I'd like them to find it themselves. But I like that you interrupt because when people interrupt with scripture, it's like it doesn't piss anyone off. Actually, have you noticed how repetitive scripture can get, and it's never boring? How many times have we heard certain verses and we still stop scrolling on our phone just to look at it? Or how many corny verses that it's just so corny, it's so overplayed by Protestants on Twitter, but we still stop and look at it and we go, let me look at the deeper meaning and let me look at it vertically. Let me look at scripture never gets boring. For example, there's numerologists who only count the numbers of scripture. There's people dedicated their whole lives just to the numerology of scripture. Then there's people who dedicate their whole lives to certain words that are reoccurring. Then there's so many different ways to touch the Bible, and it's like when people start that journey, it's for life. Have you noticed how many Christian scholars they have white hair, not even gray, white hair? Like they've been doing it their whole lives, and it sustains them. It's a beautiful thing, and I think the most disgusting thing about scripture is that people think it's racially coded. Like if you notice not in the West so much, but in Asia and stuff like that, they assume Christianity is a white thing. In the West, nobody assumes that. Not really. Like you see blacks going to church all the time, or at least the women, right? So in the West, it's not really like that. But in Asia, they'd be like, "Oh, Christian, you must be white." And I'm like, ooh, I know that that's a huge barrier of entry. Like, imagine feeling like it's a racial thing to go to God's house. Imagine thinking going to church is a racial thing. There's so many humans on earth that say, because of the way Zerka's nose is shaped and his skin color, it just makes sense that he goes to church. And it's like, no, you fucking idiot. There is no color to go into God's house. You're a fucking idiot faggot. You should be slapped. You should be beaten and spat on in public. There is no barrier to entry to go to God's house. Well, can I go there if I'm doing crack? If I'm, yes, you can. You can, any human can enter those doors. And I always make the argument that just entering, just unplugging from the fucking digital matrix for a second is enough for your curiosity to build. And but Zerka, what are you saying? You want all of your followers to be at your level of Christology and modern and esoteric? You have to have both? Yes, you do have to have both, just so you know where the truth is, right? Because if you have one, how do you know that's the truth? The truth's always in the middle, right? So you always have to, like, for example, Circa, do you want your 300,000 followers to all spend 2 hours a night on scripture? Yes. When I say to the normie masses they don't have to do that, I'm talking to normies. If you've clicked the follow button on a Zerka account, you have to. You have to. And the only thing that should stop you from doing that is if it's boring. Because there's no amount of discipline that can make you absorb anything if you're bored. It's a lie. You know, people say just be disciplined. If you're bored, it doesn't work. But if you listen to me speak, if you watch the way I live my life, you should say, you know what? It's impossible to be bored because I listened to Zerka already, and all Zerka ever talks about is Christology. That's the only thing he'll ever talk about. I talk about it so much that I even allow other esoteric forms of intelligence to bleed into my life, whether it's numerology or other retardation. I allow all of it to mix with our mind and try and confuse us just so you can see how fucking stupid everything is compared to the cross. You know, I allow everything. I allow you guys to pray to fucking Madonna, do evil shit, go lose yourself, destroy yourself so you can come back to us.
Zerka, so
Yeah.
Christ was in the Christ was in the ninth dimension, right? But I've been reading a little literature of Steiner, but I haven't got to the part when he says how incarnation and reincarnation. Why are some people better looking in this carnation life, and then once once you if you pass the test, what does it say? What is Steiner saying after death? Like when Christ gets involved,
Yeah.
where's that part? I haven't got to that part yet. I just wanted you to expand on it for me.
Basically, after you die will be the in between period from this incarnation to the next. So, a lot of people who die, they're so exhausted on this side that they want to stay on that side for a long time. Sometimes they stay 2,000 years, sometimes much longer, sometimes much shorter. Some of them want to uplift humanity into spirit. So, they want to come back and help everyone, but it's different for everyone. But usually the baseline is every 500 years you come back, which means, yes, you can miss out on a lot of things. Like most people listening to this call, you're not going to be around for the next 500 years, right? You're going to come back much more into the future. And if people don't understand that, like, things move quick like that, it's like it sounds slow, but you only have one more incarnation until the Antichrist shows up. You know that, right? And so things are moving very fast, not slow. A lot of people are like, man, this is taking forever. And I'm like, no, 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 you don't. When the Antichrist shows up, then you think the world's fucked now. You're about to see some crazy shit. And it all depends on what humanity does for each other. Like every thought you generate affects, even if you just stay in your room, all your thought forms actually go bleed out into the world. That's why most unconscious people, their thought forms are so weak, but they're still shaping the world. When people find this out, they freak out, they quit their jobs just to fix their thought forms, because no one wants to be responsible for all of that. And I always say, what you don't know you're responsible for, you're actually you're safe from that stuff, believe it or not. It's the things you know you're doing wrong and you still do wrong. That's what you're not safe from. That's a Swedenborg teaching, right? Which would be a lower level initiate than Steiner, but still very important. Swedenborg is very important for you guys to, I know I push a lot of shit on you guys, but I'm telling you guys that this is the fountain of life, is everything Zherka's interested in, everything I've self-remembered, everything that comes natural to me and does not come natural to you. I want you guys to force it a bit too. Yeah. You guys should be up to date with Swedenborg and stuff like that, because this stuff battles your all that time you spend on social media reading about Shaniqua fighting another black chick. But if you want to know for death, death is really, really simple. The Christ is involved. And no Christian on the other side says, none of them say, I knew it. Yes, when your faith is reaffirmed, you glow. But no one says, I knew it. It's a sadness to know it and your friends to have not known it. Because not that they get to miss out on the Christ, like modern Christians say, you won't have the Christ. No, no, it's not that you get abandoned like that. It's more like you see how much of your evolution you missed out on without understanding who was God on earth. And unless you had a more atheist incarnation, for example, Destiny was so religious and dogmatic in his previous life that he actually has to develop atheism in this one to balance out, because dogmatic people ruin the world. You can even see how religious Destiny is for atheism. He has that militant atheism thing. So that's why no one is meant to be judged by other humans. That's why the Christ teaches to not judge another human, because one human has to go towards religion and the other human has to go towards free thinking, because one human in the last one had no religion and the other one had no free thinking. So it's every human you see is filled with contradictions because they're balancing out into their Jerusalem form, their Jerusalem period, right? The Jupiter period, the heaven period that everyone's pushing towards. So that's why you're not actually supposed to fully judge a human being at all, because even if someone's like a violent rapist, they have to go through that. For example, Mike Tyson was accused of rape and all that stuff and being a violent guy, biting people's ears off. But it was something he had to go through. Like, that's just how it went for his, think of it like an art project. And when you start seeing the world like this, you start seeing that humans are, it's almost like you feel bad for them. You feel bad, like, oh, wow, that purification process is way longer than I thought. It's not just what these stupid modern Christians talk about. Or I love, my favorite modern Christian take is, if you accept Jesus Christ on your deathbed, you're saved. That's my favorite modern take. If you kill 500 people with a knife, I'll kill you, motherfucker. If you're just murdering people with a knife, 500 humans, and you accept Christ on your deathbed, but it's a genuine transformation. There's Christians on earth, I swear to God, most of them. It's not a Catholic position, but a lot of Catholics believe this too for some reason if you talk to them. And it's like, no, if you stab someone with a knife 500 times in the heart, you are not allowed to evolve until your next incarnation where that happens to you. There will be someone that's unconscious that will be driven by these spirits. Remember, these evil spirits are still doing the will, right? The divine will is always perfect. So these evil spirits say, oh, look at this guy's karma. He stabbed someone 500 times in the heart. They have an impulse to enter that person and drive him, or excuse me, to enter a different person. And so let's say Bob stabbed someone in the heart 500 times. Then Tyler, in the next incarnation, will have an impulse to stab Bob. And Bob will know it's a perfect mirror. Bob will know exactly what it's like to be stabbed 500 times in the heart. But that doesn't mean that all bad things happening is a mirrored karmic version. No, you could. You could make a new creation today and go stab someone today. You could, out of free will, break someone's path, right? You could step on someone's toes. You could do whatever the fuck you want, right? It's total freedom. But don't think that you enter higher worlds if you've stabbed someone 500 times. If you stab 500 people, if you've done that level of carnage, the only way you enter higher worlds is if your next incarnation that happens to you. If you're lucky, the karma will return quickly in the same incarnation, which that cannot be explained. You know, for a lot of people it's in the next one, and for a lot of people it's this one. So that can't be explained. But you are not ever evolving without having done whatever happened to you. Will whatever you did to someone, that's not free. Because remember, you have the Christ within you. Meaning, when you're stabbing with your hand another human being, the Christ is in you when you're doing that. You do realize. And that's why you can't bear it. That's why you come back and experience it and level out. And when you level out, you say, what the fuck is what is this unconscious state where I stabbed that guy so many times? Why was I that unconscious? I'm sure you guys have been angry with someone and you've gone really unconscious. Yes, your powers can dog walk you. It's not you dog walking your powers. Most of humans live 99% of their life being dog walked by their impulses, right? Which is the dead working through you. It's not a spooky thing. Think of them like germs, right? And I'm telling you right now, this 500-year period in between one life and another, all you're trying to do in the heaven parts is bring matter connect with spirit. Yes, it's fun to stay in the spiritual world. It's awesome. It's great. But there's an immense guilt that there's people on earth suffering. So you keep coming back down and saying, I can do more for the world. I can do. A lot of people do tap out. I'm not going to lie. And then there's bodhisattva masters who take a vow to not enter heaven until every single human being on earth is liberated, which takes way longer than you think. For some tribes, some star tribes have done it much sooner, some much later. I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of people who say we're on the right track. And the last spiritual boom we had was the 1950s sexual revolution, which is kind of Luciferic too. It's a little too much hope, too much hopium. People not going to work. They're like smoking crack and shit. We've had a bumpy way up since the dark period, which ended in 1899, I think. And so now we're back on the trajectory to going back upwards, and everyone can feel it. That it's like it's not as bad as World War II, but still dead babies, still people fighting, still people arguing. And I think where most of the evil on earth is, if we look at it from a quantity position, it's divorce and cheating, right? That's where souls are having the most karmic pains. And like, if a lot of people don't realize that if your girl just randomly cheats on you, your wife, and you don't know why, you felt like she was just, it was like a compulsive thing. She's not even in love with the other guy. She just needed to do that to you. She just kind of unconsciously did that to you. It's because you cheated on her in the last one. And so that's why she has that impulse to keep that karmic stream with you, keep hurting you, and you keep hurting her. And who knows who started that, right?
What does Steiner say about people's incarnation that came out, or if women came out beautiful or men handsome? What is that about? What does
Yeah,
that mean in the past life?
yeah, that one's it gets confusing because beauty can mean so many things, but you know how no human can define the word beauty, right? It's not proportion. It's not the word beauty is it actually the secret of the word beauty actually means morality. That's what no one understands, that when you're looking at anything beautiful in nature, you're seeing morality at its highest form. That's that's kind of why you fall for a hoe. You're seeing everything moral in her built up. Even if she's a piece of shit right now, we still build a lot over these many energies. And so you fall in love with this hoe and she cheats on you. And she used all of her beauty, all that morality that she's built up to now to trick you. But a human can either have a harmonious face because they're not liars and pieces of shit. There's a lot of ugly people who they're ugly because they crafted their soul like that. But you're not actually allowed to go into public and say, this guy's ugly, I don't trust him. Even though that's how I live my life. You know, like when I look at prisoner photos, those are some ugly motherfuckers, man. You look at prisoner photos, but why there's a rule that you're not supposed to trust a good looking person is one, you can get fooled because Ted Bundy was good looking and he murdered everyone. So you can fall off the ladder. You could have many incarnations of being awesome, and then something bad happens to you and you fall off the ladder, you become Ted Bundy. Now, all that good looks you've built up, you use it to snake people. Same with politicians. Some of them are good looking, but they snake everyone. So it's not just points on morality. And another thing is, there's another reason. Sometimes it's not about morality at all. Some incarnations, I wouldn't call these incarnations beautiful, I'd call them extra beautiful. So a beautiful person, chances are they're more moral than you. That is true, right? Just trust me on that. And a lot of people think it's because they're good looking, so they had an easier life. That's why they're a better person. No, it's the other way around. It's their inner qualities showing outwardly. But if you ever see someone that's extreme, not just beautiful, not just good looking, extremely good looking, be careful of those because that's usually not morality shining. That's usually something else. If a soul has never experienced the beautiful incarnation and that's what it wants, then it maxes the beauty stat and says, I want that. So if you see a good looking person, chances are you can trust them. You know, don't lose your money, but you have a good bet there. If you see someone stunning, chances are they're a piece of shit. Why? Because the only reason they incarnated was to experience what it's like to be stunning, right? That's why a lot of stunning, beautiful women are evil, but good looking women are very cool. Have you ever noticed that? That's why people love the mid bitch more than the stunning bitch. Have you ever noticed that? Which nowadays it's a little confused because in our self-remembering process, our self-remembering journey, we can intuitively remember because think of yourself at the finish line already. Not that you are, but just think of it like that, right? That you can strengthen that self-remembering. Why do you think women are getting their lips done, their boobs done, and looking like cartoons? All of that cartoony look is coming from the future of what a woman's going to look like. They want that level of moral development right now, where the boobs are bigger and everything is perfect. They want that immediately, so they're getting surgery and stuff like that. But where is it coming from? Where are the images in their head coming from? Right? Is it just did men say we want bigger tits? Well, they had smaller tits for thousands of years, so not really. But no, it's a Lucifer. I want the future. I want it's just like when a steroid guy wants his body that he'll build in 10 years in 1 month. And I know a lot of people think I'm exaggerating. You can beat 10 years of weight training in a month of not just steroids, but a really well planned cycle, right? Maybe 2 months, right? But yes, you can beat that. Make no mistake about that. If you don't know how powerful hormones are, or just any alchemical change in your body with drugs, if you don't know how powerful they are, the average man, if they get on testosterone, gains 25 fucking pounds and gets a little leaner at the same time in the first month. And a lot of that's water, but the humans can't do that naturally. Like, what are you talking about? Maybe super newbie gains. But yeah, anytime someone looks into the future, like women are turning into angels, their boobs are just going to get bigger, everything's going to get more beautiful. That's the trajectory. The sad part is because they're faking it early, they're not waiting many incarnations. The sad part is it's all fake. Like, that's why have you ever noticed fake tit bitches usually lie a lot? Like, because they have to pay for the surgeries. They're always broke from surgeries, so they have to steal more money in society. So they're like not good people. But yeah, same with men obsessed with building muscle. They're not obsessed with building muscle because they're just fucking bodybuilders or they enjoy art or to be the biggest guy. No, it's because they want their future gains. In the future, man is going. It's almost like the movie Avatar, man, which is talking about the Atlantean times, if you haven't noticed. But man is going to get taller, more muscular, better looking, and younger. That's why Zoomers look younger than men from 30 years ago. You fucking idiots. Modern Christianity doesn't teach you any of this because it's for monkeys. It's literally for monkeys. Modern Christianity doesn't even believe in evolution. Doesn't even believe you're evolving. You know how much you're evolving? Who here can look into photos of themselves 5 years ago? You look very different 5 years ago. Sometimes you look very different within the matter of a month. Like I've had guys tell me the girl that they were pursuing, they started dating her. And that month they started looking different in the mirror. And that happens all the time. You start dating a woman you really like, and you somehow look better in the mirror. And that evolution happens quick. You stop dating her, nothing changes except you're uglier for some reason. Same with women. Like my community always used to say, Zherka, how come the e-girls you're with, we never make fun of them? Because they look so good. They're so good looking around you. But they're not hot. I saw them on this stream. I saw them on, and I'm like, dude, you're watching them when they're with me. That's why they're good looking. When they're not with me, they're ugly again. That's how it works. It happens to all faces morph daily, let alone weekly. Um, uh, I was I I was never contacted by someone like on a train station except my brother's manager who said, "I want you for modeling." I'm like, "Nah, I'm good looking. I'm not good looking like that." But he'd only ask me when I had a girlfriend. Right? When you have a girlfriend, you're generating love throughout the day, all day, even when you wake up, even before you open your phone and see her text. The world fucks with you. When you're generating love, that's why I'm saying every human runs around looking for dopamine. It's not dopamine. They're looking for the Holy Spirit, love. And we deplete ourselves from love. We get away from it to transform. We do all sorts of things. But our biggest transformations always come from touching that fountain of energy. And when we can't touch it, we get really tired and exhausted, go to sleep and touch it. The humans cannot live without going to sleep and touching love. The love is the Holy Spirit, and not the Holy Spirit of just the Christian mysteries. It's the great spirit that the shamans talk about. It's the same spirit. That's why Ezekiel's vision had the head of an eagle and an ox, and it was the same shamanistic vision. That's why it's very stupid when Christians go to the natives and say, "Oh, we're different people." So yeah, there's some fucking freak show natives sacrificing to certain demons and killing babies, but there was a lot of natives who were in line with the Holy Spirit. It's just they were doing it in an instinctive, dreamlike consciousness, whereas the Christians were touching the Holy Spirit conscious, higher levels of evolution. Do you understand? And remember, you can always go spiritual and instinctual and dreamlike or super conscious. You can go either which way. It doesn't matter, right? The only problem is you're meant to do it through thinking. That's the whole point. Imagine being in 2026 and saying, I'm not going to develop my thinking. It's like, what else are you going to develop? Because there's nothing else you can. If let's say you're rhythmic, you like guitar, you have to apply your thinking towards getting good at the guitar. You can't just play the guitar instinctively. You have to get better and better and build concepts over it. And over time, this is you unfolding, and it's going to be connected to you playing guitar to your girlfriend or whatever the fuck these simps do nowadays. But that's how it's all connected. Now, Zerka, do you mean the whole point of waking up in the morning is think of like a cocaine rat. You know those lab rats that are looking for the cheese? That's what you are, but you're looking for love. Love in the guitar you play, love in the football you do, love in the watching the movies with your friends, love in the business, love in the it never ends because you die if you step away from love. You when you step away from love and turn to instinct, you run on compulsions, meaning you take a seat back and let the dead work through you. And that's what Jeffrey Epstein did. He let the dead work through him and they filled his cock with blood. He was like so horny because he kept going into those darker states. The only time he was conscious is when he was cold and calculative, using his mind to make more money. But why did Jeffrey Epstein want billions of dollars? Because as a millionaire, you cannot eat babies, it's impossible. You have to be a billionaire to get away with that. So if your appetite is children, he used all of his thinking power on setting up a life where he can get away with everything and take everyone down with him if anything went wrong. And he did get away with it. He's on an island right now, raping someone. And a lot of and he's a genius because he got the elites to say, "Hey, put out a meme. No, put out a conspiracy and make the caption say Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself." Yeah, if the goy keep repeating that, they're going to think that someone else killed him. But the psyop is that he got killed. He never got killed. He's raping a child as we speak on some faraway island outside of Antarctica. Are you fucking stupid? It's like I remember watching the whole world, the left and the right, saying Epstein didn't kill himself. And I'm like, whoa, people are deeply unconscious. Like the cattle are actually repeating what the elites want them to repeat. These people are fucking stupid as shit. And so I'm telling people like, okay, guys, listen, in today's call especially, love is not this gay shit you see on TV or movies or what you experience with your girlfriend and stuff. You have no idea what divine love is. You know, divine love is so powerful that when you touch it, it's a horizon that can never make you feel weak. So, if you've ever felt even a second of divine love, your first clarity is, I don't care where my wife is. I don't care if she cheats on me. She's a spiritual being, and I'll see her at the top because I want to go to God. And that's how powerful clarity is, like real divine love, where you see yourself at the end of space and time and you say to yourself, I don't want to hold my wife back on Earth evolution. I don't want to hold my friends back. I don't want all of this. Please don't cheat on me. Is you trying to hold another soul down. And there's so many Luciferic teachers that turn into cucks with this teaching. But I recommend you don't turn into a cock because that's one-sided. Stay in the middle, dude. A lot of these guys are like, Zherka, how come you never think about marriages? I wake up every day of my life and see myself. I connect. I meditate into outside of space and time. I connect to there. And it humbles me. It's like nothing, not the news, nothing matters in the world. Not that I'll ignore it, right? Not that I will ditch the world. Not that I'll ever escape from it like you guys. When you guys get into this stuff, you guys for some reason stop texting everyone you know like some fucking faggot, which is not supposed to happen. I'm telling you right now, you don't know how long this journey actually is. And you're meant to play with it. You know, you can even enjoy suffering. Have you ever been working out so hard that you're finally getting your six pack and it's those last 10 pounds and you're not those idiots that can't get them off. You know that a lot of people get stuck there. You're those people who knows what to do, but you know how hard it is because you know now it requires more energy demand, tighter diet, all that. and you're on that Stairmaster or whatever JW does. Shout out JW Stairmaster. You know, I find that way too hard. No one goes on that one, right? No one likes stairs, but that's why it works, right? And you get on that motherfucker and you're burning the calories and you're at those last 10 pounds and all you can think to yourself is like, whoa, I, I'm finishing my fitness journey. And it's almost like the plan came perfectly together and this is the end, and you start going hard at the end and you realize how much you love suffering on that stairmaster. Every contraction on your abs as you're walking that stairmaster, it feels euphoric. It's like you're at the last 10,000 steps, let's say, and you're about to finish and you're about to have your six pack, your dream body, everything's melting off you. And you go, why is this euphoric? Why is this workout that I've hated for months? Why is it so euphoric right now? And I'm telling you, every minute of your life can be euphoric. If that part of the workout can be euphoric, imagine your other suffering packages. And a lot of my students have said, what about when you lose a loved one? Can you find euphoria there? And I swear to you, I'm telling you right now, only my students will be ready for that day. They will say, they will embrace it with a euphoria of, I don't give up until this is all finished. A lot of people give up when they lose someone they love. And it's like, dude, the game starts when you lose someone you love. It doesn't end there, it starts there. People don't realize that just because I don't do it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. You guys should be envisioning your 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, all in different versions and clothes and what you'll be wearing and energies and how you look and Skittles. Stop that. All right, I will ban you. Okay, that's just distracting. What the fuck is she spamming like a retard? Like, what is wrong with these women, man? Why is
Zherka,
she?
JW wants to come up.
I don't give a fuck if JW wants to come up. Who the fuck are you? I'm fucking talking here. What the fuck is this shit, bro? The end of your journey is so far away, but can only be reached when you are in the middle of your journey. Do you understand that it's always been you in the middle? And it'll always be you in the middle because if God created you and your consciousness, did he make your consciousness like everyone else in society? No. Every human on earth has a different, I'm not saying just level. Let's say we're all at the same level. It would still be a different color for each one of us, you idiot. Every point of view, if you go into the Akashic record and you see through George Washington's eyes, the world's going to look different to you. If you see through Zerka's eyes, what you're building is going to be unique to you. And here's the most mind-blowing part. It's supposed to be your present to God. That's why there's free will involved. That after all of the many, many cycles you go through, you build a mind that is a gift. Like, look through my eyes. Do you get it? And it's not like it's God's going to download your mind. It's that he's with you every step of the way. That means the biggest burden you'll ever feel is when you realize every time you were in pain, you forgot about the pain because you healed. So who was actually in pain? If you know you broke your leg last year, but your leg is fine now, who actually screamed in pain? It's not you, because you're not screaming right now. Is it the old you? No, it's not. You can't prove that exists. Who was screaming in pain when you broke your leg last year? The Christ took on your pain. Everything you do to harm yourself is taken into the Christ. That's how evil mankind actually is. You're always going to heal. You're always going to be okay eventually. And all you're doing is harming the Lord. When you jump out of a fucking two-story thing to show off to your buddies, you do you know that it's nothing to the Lord too? Even because he's taken on everything, all the pain in earth evolution has been taken. So you break your leg 1,000 times. That's nothing compared to what the Christ has done for us. Do you understand what I'm saying? We are all a different face of the Christ. It's just not right now, right? We're all going back to that meeting point in the middle, and in that meeting point, slowly you will fade into thinking my neighbor is me, and everything blends back into the monad, the one. But the number one thing you should remember is that was in the past. This time we're going back towards spirit in a different way after the fall. And this time we're going back as individual egos, but we're still going to feel connected. That means you don't get to fade away. Just like in the past, we dissolve back into the one. This time, when we go back into the one, we come as ourselves. That's why we don't receive God first, we receive the kingdom. Do you understand that God is in the start, but in the end will be the kingdom, as in go explore? And let me tell you this, those kingdoms are much larger than the Milky Way. And there's way more of them than stars in the fucking night sky. There is so many more higher worlds that you will feel so small. You will feel like a cell in the embryo that is Earth. And you're going to be connected to this even when you're a snail, even when you're a piece of shit drug dealer, always connected to it. Whether you're on low levels of evolution or high. You mean Jeffrey Epstein? He's going to have more chances to evolve too. But eventually there will be a cutoff point. In the year 3000 when the Antichrist returns. And then souls have to choose. Because we'll be entering a new stage. Not Earth evolution. We'll be prepped for all of that glory in between life and death, in between incarnations, that kingdom, we want that kingdom, but conscious when we're incarnated, right? That takes a long time. And yes, everything on earth you see that's alive can be more alive. That's why after a near death accident, you feel very, very invigorated. You feel energetic. You can feel more alive. That's why if Zherka finished an hour and a half meditation session and turns on a Twitter Spaces right now, you feel more alive when I am speaking because my thinking is more alive than a couple hours ago. And Earth, when I say more alive, I mean the green is going to keep becoming more green. There'll be more grass. The trees will get taller. They will eventually be the size of mountains as we turn everything into spirit, just like inwardness, the sun, the earth will become a star. That's what it means to spiritualize matter. And you guys don't realize that you spent your whole lives wasting your time. Only the tragedies leveled you up and nothing in between.
Zerka, if you say there's one last incarnation, so are you saying some will go to hell? If, you know,
Yeah. You gotta understand, a lot of people who say, man, I can't wait to die. It doesn't work like that. When you're dead, you are unconscious, meaning you're going to reincarnate and not remember. So the in between period before one incarnation and the other, it doesn't matter how much fun you're having for those thousands of years because you'll never be able to remember it. Only on earth can you train yourself to remember the in between periods, which we call sleep. Do you understand what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
the you can keep you've already been in the in between heavens 10,000 times already. You don't remember any of them. So even the next one you're not going to remember because that you're entering that without the powers to remember. Only on earth can you develop those sense organs, those powers. If you do it on earth, guess what? You can make way more progress. And that's what everyone was. What do you think? People are supposed to talk about Trump till 70 years old and die? That's all you're supposed to do on earth? Are you stupid? That's the whole point. So that's why people are saying, "Wow, then I'll just take my own life." And it's like, dude, I'm sure, I guarantee you, you're an idiot. I guarantee you. Let's say someone jumped off a bridge today and took their own life. You would literally wake up as some fucking 12-year-old entering a bit of awareness somewhere else. You will never remember the in between progress, even if you're 1,000 years ahead now. You will never, no human remembers the in between. The in between process is the kingdom. But your point is to have that in between process while you're conscious, while you're on earth. And that takes many times. That's the whole point. The earth must become a star, and you must be conscious. And yes, everyone who goes the path of evil from to the point of no return, right, which takes a long time then to pull them back up, it's not because they're being judged and all that stuff. It's because they want to go that way, right? Just like drug addicts stay together and do fentanyl together. Yes, in the future, there will be souls that just want to stay in the darkness, and they have total freedom to do that, right? Remember that the Christ just has the hand out all the time, doesn't force, will never force. Actually, even 1 second touching you, forcing you, would ruin perfection, like literal. Remember, love is freedom and unity, meaning you can go do fentanyl all day, or you can go towards the Lord, but you're free to do both. There is nothing, there is, God could snap his fingers and say, do this, do that, but anything that damages your divine energy would be considered a contradiction. And remember, it's not that God is afraid of a contradiction. It's not that it's not his nature, which it's not. It's not just that. None of that matters. None of the logical stuff matters. The only thing matters is that God is love in a divine form. Have you ever felt a bit of love from a girlfriend? It's incredible. But have you ever felt divine love? It is not, you could never describe it. Infinite love is like you getting thousands and thousands and millions of incarnations and different angles and keep going, whatever path you need to go, helping you along the way as you spit in his face. You are the most rotten, nasty piece of shit. Infinite love never says no. Every heartbeat you have is a wish. And your real powers, yes, it's not God creating things for you. It's here's your heart, do whatever you want. Every wish can have something. You're only exhausted when you're away from spirit. That's what it means to be exhausted. It doesn't mean your cells are tired. It means you're away from spirit, right? If you have inexhaustible energy like Zherka, it means you're really in line, aligned, right? You are falling in line like a soldier. You want to climb. You want to go to the higher worlds. There's zillions more colors than what you see on Earth. Trust me, you are going to be shocked. And every human is a different color, unique. And here's the craziest part. You are unique to God too. That's why He created you. How can you be unique to something divine, though? How's that fucking possible? That's the gift. That is the gift of suffering. That all those degrees, every step up the ladder, everything you're meant to go through is a present after present after present. And anytime your evolution is slowing down, you're thrown into suffering. You're challenged more. Why? Because the worst thing ever is to be left behind in matter. That is the worst. That's why every spirit that's good tries to give us suffering too, because Jeffrey Epstein didn't suffer enough and he rapes children. You can be so off balance that you start raping and murdering people out of instinctive compulsions, out of your lower nature, out of the dead working through you. And when you realize that no human's actually alive right now, that's why the Christ always speaks about I am the way, the truth, the life. As in, no one listening to Zherka right now is actually alive yet. That's why we're striving towards the life. That's why you get angry, drink alcohol, stab someone. You're under the dead compulsion because you are dead. They work through you like fish. And a lot of you guys don't realize that it's like, that's why Zherka stares at the fern and the tree and the rose and everything in the park, and his friends look at him like, oh, he's ignoring me again. Zherka's ignoring me. That's what this girl I was with, she's like, he always ignores me to stare at a tree and stare at the blades of grass because I know they'll never be here again. And a lot of people are like, that sounds evil. How can the animals and the trees, and they're never going to be here again because there's going to be more of something different. That's what evolution is. And the Lord is evolving as a continuous gift for us, even though at the final point at the top, there is no movement. That point, it shouldn't even be talked about. None of you are reaching that bliss meditative point in the middle. None of you should even be talking about that. You guys should be running around the world, conquering and doing. You guys should be convinced that every human you've spoken to in your life lied to you besides Zherka. You should you should be convinced that a cult leader like Zherka has given you more than anyone else on earth. It almost feels like when you're taking steps towards eternity that you have so much time, but really those blades of grass at the park will never look like that again, dude. They will look different. Just like vegetation looked different in Jesus' time, it looks different today, and it'll keep looking different. You don't want to miss out on this art project. That's why I say run around with some hose at the park. Go to Hawaii. Do not become a dying soul like Myron's and Fresh and Sneeko, and you don't want to sound like those people, man. They always sound like they're dying. Like, why do you sound like that? You guys sound like you're in pain, like constipation. Every streamer sounds like they're in constipation and constant agitation and aggravation. The most amazing part is no human on earth has ever wanted you to evolve. They're just doing their own thing and unconscious. And it's like, dude, I feel bad that Trump is your president, because if Zherka was your president, you guys would be seeing the sun glowing through the blades of grass on the ground. It would have a tint of gold. We would be 10 degrees towards the north. We would be closer to spiritualizing matter. We would be making our own heaven here, bit by bit, through thinking, feeling, and willing. But you have Trump who's talking about taxes like a fucking idiot. Like, we give a fuck about taxes and all these dumb motherfuckers. I had my whole team saying, you gotta sell all that Ethereum. You gotta sell your Bitcoin. You got Zherka. You're fucking rich, but I fucked you over. And I said, calm down. Calm the fuck down. If I get screwed right now, it's nothing to cry about, because if you ever get screwed financially hard, it's the best thing that ever happened to you. It is the greatest thing. That is, remember, the blessings and the curses in your life are not one is great, one is shit, one is good, one is meh. No, the blessings and the curses are identical, equal. They're literally equal in your evolution, meaning a curse is identical to a blessing, even if it means someone in close to you died. Even if someone close to you died, is a blessing. And it's not something you're supposed to tell the masses because they'll kill you for it. No one wants to hear that. So if you lose 250 fucking $1,000, these motherfuckers are fucking me over. These motherfucking Ethereum. I'm mad too, nigga. I'm human too. That shit stings. That shit fucking hurts. But calm down, because it's just comedy. If you lose everything and you have to start streaming with a donation button again, which might be the fucking case, man. I'm not gonna fucking make it, man. I'm not gonna fucking make it. Hey, man, just ride the wave. Just ride the wave, Zherka. Just ride the wave. Because if you get damaged in life and you don't smile, you are not with me. I don't give a fuck if you're smiling through blessings. I only care if you smile in pain. And if you already admit that on the Stairmaster, as you're getting shredded, it hurts, it burns, it's hot, I can't take it anymore, but it's euphoric also. If you can admit that pain can be euphoric, then why the fuck do you think pain is from the devil? Pain is from the Lord. Even though he's not doing it to you, you're doing it to yourself. That gift to do it to yourself, to hurt yourself, is from the Lord. You have the power to co-create with the Lord, you fool. That's the whole point in this stairway up to the you will be an angel. But a lot of people are not gonna make it. You guys are so unfree that you can only write with your right hand and not your left. You have to unlock all of your powers. If you can't even write with your other hand yet, you can't even draw, you can't sketch, you can't do anything. None of you, do you know how many latent powers you have to actually develop before the real ones show up? Before the life-changing ones happen? You know how much of your body you're not using? Do you know how much energy you actually have? Most of your energy goes into bad posture, nervous disorders, thinking weird, and being tense for no reason, even when you're relaxed. But when you solve all of that, you have energy throughout the whole day without bursts and peaks and insulin and cocaine, none of that shit. No spikes, no sugar. You have infinite energy when you understand how to use your body, and it takes thousands of years. It's a temple. Most of you guys are not even using 1% of your total body. And by body, I mean mind. Yes, your liver does think, it's just unconscious. Yes, your digestive tract is a thinking process. It's not just your mind thinking. Yes, there is wisdom in the arm throwing the football. That's wisdom from the metabolic limb system, your arm, your fucking limbs. Do you understand that you have wisdom, unused wisdom, all trapped in you? And a lot of you guys don't realize there's so many areas of your life you have to be good at to feel confidence, right? This idea that you just throw a pigskin and that's it. Are you stupid? I am Zerk. I can draw. I can pick up women. I can do whatever the fuck I want, man. There's many skill sets because I don't go out in the world thinking, oh, that's hard to learn. I already know it. I just have to remember it. Yeah, I've already done it before in a different variation, a different way. That's all I have to do is remember it. That's why self remembering is the most euphoric feeling. Have you ever had the sun shine into your window in your room and you start self remembering and you say, oh, I have been here before. And it feels really long, like the longest of journeys, so long that there is no starting point, but there is. But the starting point feels like the ending point as well for some reason. And you guys don't realize why you have memory, why you have a memory body. You guys don't realize that your etheric memory body is about the past, and your astral body is, I want the future. And so the past is always turning into the future in that loop, in different ways, events, until you do what you're supposed to do. And it's all about you. It's more about you than it is about God. That's why God created you to experience you through Him. You fucking modern Christian faggot. Anyone censoring, stealing this call, I'm saying the word FAGGOT every time they say, mute this faggot. Modern Christianity will destroy you, and I sound devilish when I say that. Like I hate it, but I don't hate it. I just can't stand, like a little cute white rabbit. John, this is my pet white rabbit. This is my little rabbit. And it's like, oh, your pet is gay? Because I own a tiger. Why do you have, it's like, you have a pet rabbit? That's the gayest shit on earth. That's what modern Christianity is to me. It's such a low level of consciousness that it's like, oh, we're doing autism Christianity? Is that what we're doing? I don't think that's really helped anyone. No, actually, that's why everyone's a whore today. Every woman is a whore because of modern Christianity. Because if they understood what I'm teaching, when modern Christianity says you cannot sleep around, they go sleep around. It builds a shadow immediately. But when evolved esoteric Christianity says, yeah, you can go sleep around, it's actually a part of your soul's journey. That's what will make you want to be married, actually, is heartbreak. You get shocked and say, actually, I don't want to sleep around. I think I'm good. That's, but, yeah, you wag your finger and tell someone they cannot do something and they want to do it. That's why every dad who's strict with their daughter's lips are around Zherka's cock right now. And I don't mean to be rude, but I'm at that age where I can speak like this. I'm not going to speak like this when I'm 50. I'm not going to speak like this when I'm 40. You can see I'm evolving, but let me speak like this right now. And I don't think that, and you could say I'm trying to justify it, but I'm telling you, I'm higher level than you on this. If I don't speak the way I speak, the youth don't come and listen. Because the youth only hear on Xbox Live, faggot this, bitch that, with their friends. You have to keep this language. You gotta keep this radio receiver. You have to keep a radio receiver with the youth. And you guys don't realize that it's always about the youth. Many people are turning 18. They're about to enter 5 years unconscious because they're going to get really afraid. Everyone turns that off right there. They become an adult. They freak out. They go unconscious. They're about to do it. That's why we're constantly only speaking to fresh 18-year-olds, fresh 18-year-olds, fresh 18. Why does your ID say that you're 17? Oh, you're 18. Okay. Let's just focus on the 18-year-olds, guys. Hey,
Um,
guys. My name's Zherka. What's up?
uh, when you talk about memories, I wanted to ask, uh, would dreams and nightmares correlate? Because when I grew up, I would always ask, if they dreamt, right? Everybody said they either just slept and then woke up, or they have sleep paralysis. I dream every day. I don't remember them, but sometimes. But what would that
You
mean?
will never remember your dreams unless you have a meditation practice that is strict and it's aggressive. By aggressive, I mean the 30 minutes turns into 45 very easily. If 30 minutes feels like an hour or 2 hours are very long, then you suck at it. Just quit. Fuck off. You're not meant for anything in this world. But if 30 minutes flies by when you meditate, it just feels like, damn, that was quick. Then you're making serious progress. If you're making serious progress, you'll begin to remember your dreams. Not all of them, because most of your dreams are just when your ego and astral bodies attaching back to your etheric and physical at night. And that way you're getting that last minute, just that last minute that you wake up to. And a lot of the time, I'd say 70% of the time, I want to say more, but let's just be more anthroposophically accurate. 70% of the time would be distorted, meaning the dream doesn't mean shit, it's just distorted, right? But you have to work through all that distorted stuff to go to the stuff towards meaning, right? And yes, the dreams will use certain symbols. If you lose your job and get lazy and afraid and do nothing for 2 months, what ha- what ha- I've been fired from 20 jobs, 20 different jobs in the course of a couple of years. It felt like impossible, but I've always been a getting fired machine. And but I had night jobs, so it's not that I was that bad. It's that people get lose those jobs all the time. It's how that industry is, and the reoccurring dream I always had for many years. And thank God, since 21, I knew a lot of this stuff. 21, I knew well, maybe like 50% of what I knew. I knew a lot. It's just when you're young and you know a lot, it's useless. It only makes sense 10 years later. But I'd say 23 till 28 years old. I got fired from so many jobs, and then I'd get banned from stuff and all that. And the reoccurring dream I've always ever had was this chained tiger. It's fucking huge. Not huge like in a in a Hollywood sense. Huge like it's the size of a tiger, but when you're standing in front of a tiger in person, or you forget it's a dream, you realize how big a tiger is, and it's chained up, and that's my will. That I had no idea back then that was my will, chained up, always fired, always in between shit, and I just wanted to let loose, and I finally did, and then that shit turned into dreamy, luciferic type of tiger energy when it was finally in me because it was starting to destroy me, right? Like, you know what's the weirdest thing about love? I'm just trying so hard not to be rude, but every girl I've ever loved, all of them, all 10 of them, they always tell me something fucked up happened to them in their childhood. And I'm like, is the prerequisite of being attractive that you get molested? I'm not trying to be rude or evil or, bring shit up, but it's like, what the fuck? Well, what are I thought it was just me until I talked to a lot of my Discord people. I'm like, have you noticed the hot girls always been molested? Some of them get through it better. Some of them have a neurosis from it. Some of them laugh about it in a weird way. But I'm like, whoa, man, you never ever judge. You know how incels say she's hot, so I hate her? No, not really, bro. You shouldn't hate her. Her childhood was harder than yours, bro. She got molested.